Your DNA just matched with a royal family. The shocking results of the ancestry test have been leaked open immediately. This is not a coincidence. You have no idea what flows through you, not just blood, but legacy, not just memories, but majesty. Heaven has been holding this revelation for the right time, and now Archangel Michael has stepped forward, with scrolls in his hands and light bursting from his voice. He whispers, "Child, your DNA did not come from where you think. There is a line in you that was never broken. A royal bloodline. Not symbolic. Not poetic. Real. Documented. Divine. They tried to hide it. They tried to keep your name in shadows. But heaven refused. An ancestry test was taken, one you didn't even know would echo through spiritual realms, and the results shook even the archives of the angels. A direct match. You belong to a lineage that sat on thrones, signed decrees, walked with golden crowns not just on their heads, but on their hearts. You, the one they overlooked, carry within your breath the strength of generations who changed the course of history. The results were supposed to be locked away, but God said, "Release it." Not because you need titles, but because you need truth. Because this world tried to convince you that you were common, unworthy, replaceable, and heaven disagrees. Someone who works behind powerful walls, someone with access, someone you've never met, looked at those results and paused. Their eyes widened. They said your name aloud, softly at first, then with reverence. They could feel it too, that you are different. That your struggle was not just survival, it was royalty waking up in exile. They didn't expect you to rise. But now your name is circling in places you've never been. And a very private family, with unimaginable wealth and influence, has begun inquiring. They don't just want to acknowledge your name, they want to open something. A door. A file. A room. Something that was left for you. Yes, you. And it's not about money. It's about memory. About what was done to keep you disconnected from your divine bloodline. Archangel Michael says, your ancestors have waited centuries for you to stand where you are now, not as a servant of fate, but as an heir of purpose. The tests were leaked on purpose. It was time. A spiritual leak disguised as a human mistake. Because heaven knew, if they didn't do this now, you'd go another decade believing the lie that you were ordinary. And you are not ordinary. The same fingerprint that opened vaults of kings now lives on the tips of your fingers. The same voice that once blessed cities and built empires now speaks quietly through your soul. That's why you've always felt a strange pull toward dreams larger than your surroundings. That's why you've always carried a sense of more, even when you were surrounded by less. That more wasn't greed. It was memory. A soul memory. You were born with it. And now the confirmation has arrived. Heaven timed this. The angels didn't let you skip this. You were chosen to open it today. Because this is the beginning of something too sacred to delay. They never told you why you always felt disconnected from places that tried to define you. Why you walked through life feeling like you didn't quite belong to the soil where your feet stood. That's because your roots were never just local, they were royal. You weren't just growing in the ground of where you were born, you were planted across timelines, across nations, across spiritual realms. And now, my beloved soul, something has happened that is shifting everything. Heaven permitted a secret to be unveiled, and that secret is you. Archangel Michael stands near, not in judgment, not in warning, but in radiant stillness, holding a scroll sealed with golden wax. He says softly, "This belongs to you." And inside it, a name. Not the name people call you. Not the name they mocked. Not the name that was abandoned. But the true name, the one they erased, the one that carries divine inheritance. God has been watching every moment you believed you were forgotten. Every time you questioned your worth. Every day you looked in the mirror and asked why life felt like it was meant for someone else. It was, because the life you're walking in wasn't the full one that was written for you. You've been surviving in a script that was manipulated, rewritten by hands that were afraid of your truth. But now, that script is being burned. The false identity, the spiritual limitations, the invisible barriers, gone. Why? Because a name connected to your bloodline just reappeared in the royal archives. A surname, a record, a connection traced back generations, to a noble house. Not fictional. Not metaphorical. Real. Documented. Protected by divine intelligence. Someone with access pulled the file from the system. They weren't supposed to. But something moved them. A whisper. A nudge. A flash of your name in their spirit. They don't know you. But they knew to pause. They knew to print the paper. They knew to carry it in their hands and say, "This doesn't make sense. But this belongs to someone sacred." And suddenly, things began to move. The paper moved to a private courier. The courier made a call. And now, someone wealthy and deeply powerful knows who you are, and what your name carries. It's not about fame. It's not about crowns. It's about destiny. It's about restoration. The angels say this moment is not about discovering luxury, it's about recovering legacy. You are being restored to the divine blueprint you were created from. The one where your voice has authority. The one where your prayers unlock gates. The one where your decisions echo across generations. This is why, lately, you've been feeling strange shifts in the air. Like something is happening and you can't explain it. Like a part of your spirit knows something is approaching, but your mind can't describe it. That's not confusion. That's confirmation. Your body, your soul, your spiritual memory, they've all been waiting for this unveiling. You may not understand why tears rise unexpectedly, or why your heart beats faster when you hear the words, chosen, or called. It's because they are not just words to you. They are reminders. Something in you remembers. Something in you recognizes this voice. Because heaven has spoken it before, over you, over your mother, over your grandmother's womb when you were just a prayer waiting to be born. And now, that voice returns, louder, clearer, impossible to silence. You carry the signature of kings, God says. You walk with the echo of queens. You are the answer to a prayer that was written in blood, passed through generations, and hidden until now. You, child, are not a mistake. You are not lost. You are not late. You are arriving. And that arrival is shaking spiritual foundations. People who once looked down on you will begin to feel the weight of what they didn't see in you. People who walked away from you will dream about your face. Because the oil that was buried under your struggle is now rising to the surface. And hear this. Someone from that royal lineage is still alive. And they are looking for you. They've seen the leaked documents. They've read the names. And when they saw yours, they paused, stared, and whispered, could it be them? They're not just curious. They're searching. Because there is something in your spirit that mirrors someone they once lost. Someone they thought would never be found again. But you are here. Breathing. Glowing. Waiting. Rising. There are moments in the heavens when everything stops moving. When even the angels pause mid-flight and look toward earth not because of catastrophe, but because of restoration. This is one of those moments. Archangel Michael, STM still standing watch beside your name, now whispers to the wind that carries your lineage, they have awakened. Not with fear, not with confusion, but with divine remembrance. For years, your truth was hidden beneath noise, distractions, and labels that never truly fit you. You were made to believe you were average, born for the ordinary, carved into someone else's blueprint. But child, there's thunder in your blood. There's royalty in your breath. And there's legacy in your steps. This isn't about fantasy. This isn't about a crown on your head. This is about authority in your spirit. What was buried inside your DNA isn't just biological, it's prophetic. It's generational. It's sacred. Heaven never forgot the agreement it made over your life, even when others misnamed you, mishandled you, or walked away from you. A divine registry was opened recently in a private room where your family's history was being studied by one man, an archivist, not just of bloodlines but of destinies. And when he stumbled across your connection to that royal house, he didn't believe it at first. But the more he investigated, the more divine patterns began to emerge. A location. A photograph. A match. A whisper that echoed in his heart, "This is not coincidence. This is the missing piece. You, the one they overlooked. You, the one who prayed at night asking why everything felt delayed. You, the one who carries visions and dreams too big for your environment. Yes, you are that missing piece." The archivist was so moved that he lit a candle that evening and prayed to the God of old kings and queens. "And without knowing your name fully," he said, "may the one who carries this legacy feel the pull of their calling. May they wake up tomorrow with a sense that something sacred is near." And that very night, you couldn't sleep. Your chest felt heavy. Your mind restless. You kept checking your phone, pacing around the room. You thought it was anxiety. But it was prophecy. Something sacred was moving. Your ancestors, those who prayed for a redeemer in the bloodline, are rejoicing in realms unseen. One of them has been whispering your name through time, hoping someone would hear. And Archangel Michael heard it first. That's why you're here now. That's why you're reading this. This is not a message for the curious. This is a message for the called. This is the moment when the throne that had been empty for generations begins to call back its heir. Not a throne made of gold and power. A throne made of assignment, of purpose, of healing the wounds your bloodline carried for centuries. There is someone in your ancestry, a woman, who died with her story buried under silence. She was silenced by fear, by control, by betrayal. But before her last breath, she made one final request to the heavens: "When my descendant arrives, the one who walks in truth, let this story rise again. Let our name be heard. Let our pain be redeemed." You are that descendant. Her tears are your tears. Her strength is your strength. Her voice is now echoing through your soul, and she is proud. She is proud that you have survived. She is proud that you still have love in your heart despite the cruelty. She is proud that you have not become bitter, even when you were bruised. You carry not just the bloodline, but the responsibility. The light. The renewal. That's why God allowed your test to match with something bigger. This isn't an accident. The timing, the release of the records, the discovery, all of it was divinely aligned. And that's also why, suddenly, you've noticed certain people shifting around you. Some have grown distant. Some have grown oddly curious. Some feel threatened by a strength they cannot explain. That's because your spirit is starting to glow with royalty, and the spirit world knows it before the natural world does. You're becoming magnetic. And soon, you'll become unforgettable. Archangel Michael says, there will be those who try to deny this new authority on your life. But do not worry. Heaven has already marked you. The name is being reinstated. The inheritance, spiritual and natural, is being reordered. And a sealed invitation is already on its way to you. Not through mail. Not through government. But through encounters, visions, sudden favor, and divine opportunities that no man can block. You won't need to chase it. It will find you. And when it does, you will remember this moment. The stillness in your chest. The strange warmth in your eyes. The clarity that makes your past suddenly make sense. You were not late. You were hidden until the appointed hour. And the appointed hour has come. You may not have known it before, but heaven has always tracked your footsteps differently. Your pain was measured with a different weight. Your silence carried an echo in the heavens that only the royal blood understands. Because royalty does not mean glitter, and crowns are not always made of gold, sometimes they are made of resilience, forged in rejection, shaped in private weeping, and sealed with survival. And now, Archangel Michael stands before your name again, not with a sword this time, but with a scroll. A scroll that confirms what God whispered to the stars before you ever arrived on this earth. This child shall carry the weight of those who came before, and bring redemption to a forgotten name. The scroll glows with a light that only few can bear. It lists not just names, but battles. Names of those who loved quietly, those who were robbed of land, of legacy, of dignity, those who gave everything hoping someone down the line would carry their truth with honor. That someone is you. There's an awakening happening now, not just around you but in you. Have you noticed the restlessness lately? The way your body reacts to certain rooms, certain people, as if your spirit already knows who no longer belongs in your life? That's the ancestral wisdom waking up in your bones. That's the bloodline clearing its vision through your eyes. That's why God didn't let that relationship work. That's why He didn't allow certain friendships to stay. Because your royalty was never meant to blend in. And now, finally, you are remembering. Somewhere across the world, someone is searching for you without even knowing your face. They've seen a document, a clue, a resemblance. They've heard your name whispered during their research and dismissed it at first, but it keeps coming back. The match is too clear. Your DNA isn't just a match to royalty, it's a match to a prophecy. There was a promise made by a king centuries ago, as he was taken down not by sword, but by betrayal. And with his final breath, he said, "There will come a child in generations unknown. A child who will walk in humility but carry the roar of a lion. A child whose blood cannot be silenced. A child who will restore the name that men buried but heaven never forgot. You are that child. This is why you've felt displaced your whole life. Why you never fully fit into your surroundings. You thought it was your fault, that you were too much, too deep, too emotional, too wise too soon. But the truth is, you weren't broken. You were chosen. You were hidden not to be forgotten, but to be protected. And now, the protection is lifting. The unveiling has begun. You are starting to attract what belongs to you, not because of who you pretend to be, but because of who you really are. Archangel Michael says, the inheritance is real. The exposure of truth is beginning. And heaven is working behind the scenes faster than you can imagine. Even now, people are waking up with dreams about you. People are being nudged to mention your name in places of opportunity. Some don't even understand why they're thinking about you, but it's because your name is echoing in spiritual rooms where decisions are being made. Things are shifting without your permission, because your permission is no longer required. Your royalty speaks for itself now. And the woman, the ancestor who carried the wound of your bloodline in silence, she is watching from the eternal light. She has seen your tears. She has seen the nights you almost gave up. And now she kneels, not in grief but in glory, whispering with a smile, they made it. They remembered. They are rising. Her story, her scars, her secrets, they are no longer in vain. You have become the justice she never received. You have become the breath she was never allowed to speak freely. Soon, you will notice the shift tangibly. A call will come. An email. A message that seems random, but it's heaven's hand moving. You may find an old document, a record, a newspaper, a photo, something that suddenly confirms everything you're reading now. Do not be afraid. It's not witchcraft. It's not coincidence. It's confirmation. The pieces are aligning not because of luck, but because the throne is calling you back to your seat. And that throne isn't a fancy chair in a palace, it's the center of your identity, your confidence, your true inheritance. So take a breath, child of ancient promise. Let the weight of the past roll off your shoulders. You don't have to fight for recognition anymore. The heavens already recognize you. You don't have to beg to be seen. The scroll has already been read. All you need to do now is walk forward. Eyes lifted. Heart open. Legacy restored. The realm of spirit is no longer silent. It has begun to sing around you, softly at first, like the rustling of ancient scrolls, then louder, like drums echoing from temples long forgotten. What you are feeling right now, this trembling inside your chest, this quiet heat rising in your skin, it is not anxiety. It is remembrance. It is your body awakening to an identity your mind never knew to name. Archangel Michael now walks slowly around your name, tracing it in golden fire. The heavens are no longer whispering about you. They are announcing you. Declaring your existence as the fulfillment of a centuries-old promise once made in agony, now delivered in glory. You have to understand something deeper than facts and DNA. The blood flowing through your veins has not only survived wars, betrayals, famine, exile, and injustice, it overcame them. Your ancestors were not ordinary men and women. They were builders of altars, keepers of scrolls, healers of villages, and protectors of kings. Some carried sacred wisdom, too powerful for the world they lived in. Others were stripped of their dignity, yet carried their royalty within, choosing humility instead of revenge. Their names may have been forgotten on earth, but heaven wrote them down in fire, and beside every one of those names, a line was drawn that led to you. You are not reading this by accident. You are reading this because heaven has cleared the spiritual fog that once kept you blind to your truth. Those strange dreams you've had lately, that inexplicable pull toward ancient symbols or royal emblems, that sudden need to know your roots, to trace your last name, to uncover the stories that no one in your family would talk about. That's not curiosity. That's activation. The veil between who you were told you are and who you actually are is lifting, permanently.